welcome back to Paul's and Christina's Gogglebox. Gogglebox, if you're watching our podcast, we would like to be a cast.
I think you need to apply.
Do I?
Though,
We made our own.
we'll end up...
Shall we stick TV on?
yeah, you'll be watching telly and I'll end up... I like my sleep.
My fingernails got to a trampy level again. Jesus. Well, this episode will be filled with trampy nails. What do you want, mate? What's up, man? What's happening? People asked me, one person today asked me a question. I'm shooting, like, if you wasn't aware, half naked and naked, beautiful women and whatnot.
Yeah.
How do you go about it?
How do you go about
How
it?
do you go about
How
it?
I go
Yes.
about it.
Like your perspective on it, like jealousy and how do you deal with that and all that good stuff. Like,
I know where other women come from. They're like, how do you let him shoot naked women? But for me, it's...
I think that was the question.
Yeah, it's
that
about...
got asked today.
I love the talent that you've got, and I think more people should see what you create. And to me, it's not sexualizing women like, oh, there's an ass. Your videos are different. Your images are different. Yeah, it has that sexual element, and it's great.
I'm not scrolling Instagram. I'm looking at my notes.
Well, why can't I look at my notes?
You can look at your notes if you want. Yeah, sorry.
So, if I was jealous, it would be my issue, wouldn't it? It would be my insecurity playing about, but I embrace the women that you film. Most of the time, I'm on the set as well, and I see the hard work you put in. I see the hard work the models put in, and yeah, I suppose we have that trust between each other, and I don't know, I just let you embrace your talent. Because who am I to stop you from doing what you like and what you're so good at? And that's probably how I go about it.
Where does jealousy of this come in?
Well, I suppose if you took me, I don't know, 15 years ago, I was much more insecure about myself, and I would become jealous. So I get where other women come from, saying, oh, how are you not jealous? How do you let him do this and film? Whereas I think, well, I hope I worked on myself a bit more. I'm not as insecure. I still have my moments. I still have the insecurity demons coming out sometimes. But yeah, I think embracing other women's sexuality, other women's beauty is not demeaning me. It's just embracing other women.
Yeah. I think that's that. The way I see it, right? That's now. Shooting is one thing, but jealousy thing in general. The way I see it, and yeah, I remember it take 15 years back. You were just doing typical thing. I don't know if you looked on someone on your left or on your right, it's like, ooh, that's it, you want to fuck them, and oh, Jesus Christ, no, you don't love me, or the usual.
Yeah, but I think at some point we agreed that, yeah, you find other people attractive because they are. And
I mean, it's impossible not to be attracted to other people. There's so many people in the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how we made. We attracted to the primal things, aren't we? And well, if you'll see somebody attractive, yeah, you might want to fuck them. Doesn't mean that you're gonna.
Yeah.
that was something that we grew into together, I think. Developed.
That's a thing with jealousy. I think people struggle to understand when, I don't know, let's say you are jealous of me, right? That is not my problem. That is your problem. Like, there's underlying stuff within you why you are jealous. And that, for me, comes that you are not, let's call it, in tune with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So that comes, I'll rephrase it. You need to do work with yourself, like work on yourself to overcome this, because for me, this is the insecurity coming from another person.
Yeah.
That is reflected towards me.
What I can't remember who I was listening to, but they brought a point across that jealousy is something you want but don't have. So you see something in others and you become jealous because, well, you want that. And most of the times you already have, like, oh, I was jealous of you.
Yeah.
But in my head, I would make a scenario where I would feel low about myself. Right, so that's the insecurity. I would feel shit. Yeah, I would feel shit about myself, and you're looking at other women because I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm this and that, and that just builds into a bubble. I think it's important to, I know it's my problem, but from your point, it's important to try and make me feel secure. But which is, again, something I need to work on. Feeling secure, pushing away those thoughts that, I'm not good enough. But there's an element of your input as well.
Yeah, we're talking about, we're not talking about like toxic relationship. We're talking about like a healthy relationship. And then to a degree, I agree and disagree with you. Like, yeah, if I put you down, let's say we have a fucking toxic relationship in the house, right? And yeah, if I always put you down, like look down upon you and all that, yeah, you're not gonna feel great.
Yeah.
And then that probably feeds your insecurity. Then if I treat you shit, talk to you shit, and then I look around to other women, that will bring that insecurity up.
When we worked with women during our fitness period of life, we saw that in quite a few ladies where they had quite bad relationship with their husbands or partners, and they were put down. So that's my point, that it needs to be a healthy relationship where you build each other up, but that's the part where you develop and are honest and truthful with each other. So if I'm jealous, I need to come to you and say, right, I'm jealous, but I need to understand the fact that what am I jealous for? Where's this coming from?
Yeah, but that's your work on you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's how we go about it. Like, even in our own like relationship, it's not that I think that's the biggest, I would say, mistake that even on our on our friends' relationship, like you meet people and you analyze their like behavior, relationship and stuff, how they communicate with one another, and not to like you compare. It's not like I'm trying to say that you go and compare other people's relationship to yours, but you notice certain stuff, certain patterns, how they go about theirs and how you go about yours, right? Yeah. The biggest mistake, the way my world works, is that people do not talk with one another. That's the problem.
They're not honest.
They keep things to themselves.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so people don't talk in their relationship, and they're not honest. They hide, well, not per se hide, but they don't speak what their thoughts are quite often. And I think that's a big mistake. Because to me, if I can't be me, if I can't say my thoughts to you, that was a mistake.
Well, cat is playing in the toilet with a piece of foil. There, that was
Simple
that
things
noise.
for
That
him.
noise that was acknowledged.
Yeah.
A cat in the toilet playing around with a piece of foil. Okay. If you hear scratching, that's that.
So yeah, I think if I can't be honest with you the way I am, if I can't say what I think, regardless of you will like it or not, what's the point?
And I think that's the biggest problem that I see with people in relationships everywhere we go. Whether that would be someone we met, that would be our friends. Like, people can't talk, not be honest, but can't talk like from heart to heart with one another. That's my...
It probably comes to their own insecurity. Because you make stories in your head, don't you? You're like, oh, I'm not gonna say, he's not gonna like that, or she's not gonna listen to this, and so we create all these scenarios and stories, and then we end up like, what if they don't like it? But that's the point.
Yeah,
you're
fine.
not gonna like everything in your life.
I still should be able to say what I think, or what's on my mind, or what's bothering me. That might be something that you might not like, or that might upset you. But we're supposed to... That's another thing that the older and more mature I got, that I realize I don't like people much that can't handle uncomfortable conversations comfortably. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it might be a weird phrase to express it in, but be it a relationship, being a friend or friendship of some sort with anyone, right? Like, if you can handle me, my personality, and have more meaningful, it might be deep, really uncomfortable conversations comfortably. I mean, you feel odd, cringe, you can't talk about it, you shy away. Eventually, we will have a problem.
Yeah.
Like, I know everyone is at a different level of self-development and whatnot, but I would expect my circle, right, to be, they don't not necessarily have to be on the same page, but somewhere at the same level where I am, for us to sort of like be friends or be it us, like being in relationship, right?
It takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a lot of growing to be able to handle an uncomfortable conversation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because to me, my biggest realization was how to help our relationship was I need to know myself. I need to know
step one.
what I am, how I am. And this might change how I am, what I like, but I had to look back deeply in myself. I had to...
Cat is still playing with a foil.
He's doing speed now.
Yeah, go on.
So I had to look back into the family model I saw when I grew up from my parents.
Yeah, it's a big thing as well.
There's things that I noticed that I'm repeating, like a pattern, like
It's
a
like
cycle.
a childhood trauma, isn't it?
Yeah. So I had to consciously change that because, well, I don't want to. Because my mom used to lie to my dad. And not cheating type of lies, but stupid shit, like how much something cost or what she's buying. She would hide things and little things like that. That always pissed me off. Why she couldn't just tell the truth to my dad.
Yeah.
That was always an odd thing. And I never did this to you, but I never wanted that type of relationship where you're hiding things, where you're playing games, you know, like, oh, I'll not say this. it's not a game of chess, it's a relationship. It's more of a dance where you're close and open to each other.
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, anytime we do anything, well, unless, I don't know, bitch, maybe you don't. I'm joking.
Oh.
Anytime we do something, right? It might come as a surprise to people. I don't have many friends, but that was a selective choice.
Yeah.
Through years of knowing myself and understanding myself better. I can say now I don't have many friends. I have few friends, but I would struggle to count, you know what, in a teenage years you used to call like best friend.
Yeah.
Maybe there's few of them. Yeah, the way we go about things, like, because I don't have many friends, through a selective choice of getting to know myself better, maturing more, and understanding what a friendship actually is. But anyway, so that in turns makes it that I don't really have who to call and to chat in the moment to, I don't know, tell a good news or whatever, or discuss things with. Never mind the thing that we were just talking about. There's little to none people in my circle that can handle actually conversations with me, because I like to go deep and it might not be comfortable, you know, everything that we discussed. So the first person I want to speak with, being that a dumb purchase or anything happened, is you.
But isn't it that how it should be?
So I would probably say that you are my best friend.
Aww, you are mine.
Yeah.
That's how I want my relationship to be. I want to, you know, any good news, bad news, anything, I want to tell you first. I want to share my life with you. I want to share stuff with you. And I mean, I know you shouldn't be having expectations, but I'm happy that you do too.
What do you mean?
That you want to share things with me, that you want to speak to me. Stupid purchases, not stupid purchases, anything you would message me, you would tell me, you would talk to me.
Yeah.
Because that's how I see a relationship work. That you, what's the word? Have the conversations, any type. You share your day, your dreams, your, I don't know, thoughts. That's, to me, that's the point of having a relationship. It's not just somebody to live and procreate with. It's somebody to share a life, to share experiences, to create memories.
Lockdown actually showed how people can't cope.
That was weird.
Living with their
we saw a lot of people complaining
Jesus
that,
Christ.
oh, like, oh, Mrs. driving me mad, I had to get away. And you're like, Jesus, people live and are married together
for years,
but they can't spend time together, which is weird. I mean, lockdown was not much different to me.
Yeah,
apart from when they closed the gym.
That's another thing. Like, I think a lot of people are uncomfortable with themselves. And then you are uncomfortable with yourself. Now you're left to sit for 8 days on end in small, confined space with another person.
Who's not comfortable with themselves.
And then you're not comfortable with one another.
Yeah.
But because society deems like, oh, she's attractive, he's attractive, oh, we met, and then there's a spark, and let's call it love. And then we're now in love. Yeah. And then later on in the years, you realize, right?
You got nothing in
common. You have nothing in common, like jack shit. But now you have 3 fucking kids, right? And now you're living for the kids.
Yeah.
That's sad to me. Yeah. I'm not judging anyone, but that's the way my head works. That's the way I see the world.
I suppose, well, that's the thing. Again, I realized at some point that what we know about relationship, what we know about love is very much based on the movies, which is not
Yeah.
real. The
fake stuff.
magazines that we used to read when we were teenagers, and it's shit. It's not what actually a relationship is, because there's no happy ending. It's life. Routine happens. So yeah, you might start feeling low, in a relationship. You won't have that same hype where when you started in the first, I don't know, half a year, where all the butterflies in your tummy were flowing and all the sparks were going. And then after a year, after starting to live together, things come out, and all the chores, all the routine, everything might drag the relationship down. But you need to work on relationship. You need to, it's actually
Don't get me wrong,
work.
it's depends on the relationship. If you with someone, I don't know, be it 3 months, 6 months, a year, and if that relationship looks like a toxic relationship, you can work as much as you want. That means either you or that person that you are with in that relationship, they're not yet, I don't know, mature enough to
Well, that's
handle
again,
their
we're going back
relationship.
into getting to know yourself, because sometimes you're the toxic person.
And you don't even know it.
So you need to
You project that onto the
work
person
on
you are with.
yourself rather than, a lot of people, what I find is a lot of people are looking for the half, but they're a mess themselves. And
Yeah, it's like what can you offer to somebody else, right?
yeah, it's, if I had to,
Searching for a prince of with shining armor, right?
yeah,
But what can you offer to that prince? I'm not talking about external beauty.
yeah, it's what, if I went back now, I don't know, how long are we together?
Since 2009, so it's been a
So
while.
if I went back to 2008, before we met, but knowing what I know now, obviously I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't meet you. But if I had to give advice to myself, 2008, right? I would say work on yourself rather than look for external love or attention and, turn.
That reminds me of the subject of jealousy, and then when we started our relationship, and that actually reminded me that, from that point up to like today, it's actually, it never stops. It's ongoing process of working on yourself. And that the type of relationship we have, like, it was typical based on things that you thought you were jealous of.
Yeah.
Now, years later, that looks funny, but it looks and sounds funny just because you matured, develop as a human being, and now you realize, well, that was my insecurities coming towards you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then again, I mean, when you were in a relationship where somebody's cheated on you, right? And when we started, we were both young, and you always, also the society was a bit like that. Everybody, all the guys were like overprotective of the women, and like, oh, where you
Full
going?
majority still are today.
Yeah, but you bring the baggage of your old relationship into the new one.
Relationship, yeah.
And you don't let that new person be themselves, because you already predict and create a scenario where, I know what he's going to do because every guy before him did that.
Did exactly the same. Yeah,
So you don't give a chance to that relationship to grow. You smother it right there where you go in with your old baggage.
So picking up on what you said before, like, knowing now what you know now,
Yeah.
and if you have that knowledge when you were younger, like, once your relationship ended, let's say you've been in a, I don't know, long-term relationship with someone, and I don't know, you grew apart and you, whatever, moved separate ways, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever happened. I would now take time to work on myself, heal, if you wish, from that relationship that you have or had before moving on onto a new one. Because like you said, all you do now is take that shit that you have within you, whatever insecurities, trauma, whatever, find another pretty face, because
and do the same
she attracts me
with a different person.
And now you have exactly the same relationship, but just with a new face.
Yeah.
So it should be a process. You should, rather than jumping from one to another, like, I don't know,
when you
rebound, right?
When you hurt, when you're still like hurted, that's how we're wired. Your brain will look for bad shit.
Yeah.
And when you look for shit, you'll find
it. It's like, I don't know, don't want to tell a lie, but I think that's what Tony Robbins says. Wrong is always available.
Right is also.
But right is also available.
Yeah.
So it's the one you choose.
Yeah.
So if you look for faults and for everything wrong, you'll find it. And that's not necessarily a relationship, with anything in life.
Yeah.
If you look for wrongs, you'll find them everywhere you go. If you look for rights, you'll find that. Yeah. So, yeah. Do you think looks play a part in... I'll rephrase it. Do you think how the person looks plays a part in you choosing your relationship?
I suppose I think sex and attraction is important in a relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it plays a part. But to me, I don't know about other people, but to me, you might be as gorgeous as ever, but if I get to know you and you're a shit person, that beauty fades very quick.
Yeah, it can be, for me, you can be as pretty as you want, but the minute you open your mouth, if it's a Vanity Fair.
Yeah. So to me, it's more of a attraction to personality. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have a body or a male that I would be attracted to type.
Yeah, so you have a type.
But I wouldn't say that, you have to be beautiful to have a relationship.
Define beauty as well, like it's
no, I mean to my body type or face type, whatever. But I think the more you get to know that person, if your values align, if they are something that boost your life, that's more attractive than the actual looks, because they're looks.
That fades out as well.
Yeah,
as years go
but
by,
I think
right?
it's important to maintain your body. Well, to me, because these are mine and your values. We are both into fitness, both into keeping healthy, keeping strong,
and eating caramel wafers, obviously,
and a bagel with butter, with cacao.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't agree with the fact that, if he loves you, he will love you in any shape or form. Kind of no, because when you started being together, you were this, and now, you've let yourself go and you gained weight or you've changed. That's not the same person that the other part got into.
I mean...
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, but to make
so I think
to make it...
You have a responsibility to keep up your end of the bargain in the relationship. You have to keep yourself accountable. You have to...
To make it more clear, it's not that...
Papa.
Suddenly you became fat and unlovable. It's more to do, if we have certain expectations of one another, right?
Yeah.
And we know them because we communicate. It's not something like all of a sudden I said, Christina, you got fat and I don't love you anymore. Like, we have standards and the values.
It's the standards, yeah. So if I all of a sudden become couch potato, watch telly, scroll Facebook.
But that's not what I signed for.
That's not up to... My values changed and yours didn't, then it doesn't align, so that's not going to work. If our values are continuing being the same. If you become couch potato with me and we are two potatoes, then yeah, that might work. But if you're still in, do you get me?
Yeah, and I suppose that's another thing, when to know when to let it go without actually being toxic, rude, and harmful to another person. So let's say you might have a relationship, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, let's say we've now been together since 2009, right? And we are pretty much at the same sort of like development level in terms of how we go about life, right?
Yeah, as I say, we kept growing together.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, if for whatever reason, right, me or you, I don't know, we deviate to a different type of, I don't know, lifestyle, or the way we go about, and our values change, like different things now, like go clubbing and drinking and eating crisps all day.
Yeah.
That is just a rough example, right? That does not align with my values, and this is not what I signed up for. And when we communicate, we both know that. Yeah. So if we reach that stage of relationship now together, I would expect still be able to talk with one another. And as much as I might love you, it might not be a right path for us to continue, I don't know, being in a relationship or being together. Because now you are doing one thing, I'm doing another thing. So we are kind of in love, but we gradually drifting apart from one another.
Yeah, well.
So it's just a matter of time when that relationship becomes toxic. So I think my point is, you should know and accept a way to move on without being, I don't know, it's gonna hurt a little, I suppose, because you still spend time together, but you should not be rude and nasty to one another.
It's a conscious decision. What do you choose in life? Do you choose this person to be with you, and does that work? If our values are completely different, I go clubbing, you don't, that might work if we agree on it, that, well, that's how it's gonna be now. But essentially it's different. You'll be starting to grow apart and resenting each other.
That's your new word that you like now. Resentment.
It's not a new word. I knew it a long time.
Yeah, but I had this discussion today. It's still going back to the same a little bit. You know, when we started to communicate with one another, like we actually never met. In fact, those that don't know, I fancied your sister.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't say that our relationship was made from, oh, I saw her and I really liked you.
Yeah, because we didn't like each other.
No.
Physically. You weren't, you weren't my type in terms of you were too, what's the word? Too Essex boy, too fancy and too brown, because you went into tanning salon too much.
Sunbed.
And I wasn't your type as well, but we spoke a lot on internet, on kind of a dating site, wasn't it?
It's not kind of dating site, it was a dating site, but...
Yeah, so
I think my point was that we got to know each other before the kind of any looks.
Yeah, we established a lot of our values, a lot of things that we want from life align.
Yeah.
And that's where it clicked.
So my point was, I had a discussion with someone today speaking about this, that you can start to feel attractive to another person without, what's the correct wording for that? Like, you know, when you meet a person and like, ooh, she's really pretty, like I really like her, whatever, face, body, whatever. But you might meet someone that's not your type, right? But the more you communicate with one another and you see that the way you see the world and your values and the communication that you have, that friendship that you have, is that much in tune that slowly you start noticing that there's other feelings and other attractions developing.
Yeah, you become attracted because...
So someone that you thought before that might not have been pretty or charming or your type,
yeah,
can suddenly become that because you now know the person other way around, so you know how they are from within, and you start to see the beauty outside. Does that make sense?
Because in the essence of it, we seek somebody to make us feel good. When you find somebody, even the first impression of their looks is like, ooh, but more you get to know them, they make you feel good, and it just goes by. It comes from within rather than just from your looks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so anyway. 'Cause I always said, like before I met you, I never had a boyfriend. Well, I had a few boyfriends, but they were never very long-term relationships. My longest-term relationship was 8 months, and that was an achievement because anytime I found fault with that person, when there's something that I don't like and I know I won't be able to deal with that, I wouldn't pursue that relationship because who am I to change them? And I knew that they're not going to change and I won't like it. But a lot of people wait for others to change or hope they will.
Yeah, I mean, but when you get into a relationship with someone, it depends how your relationship starts, right?
Yeah.
You might not know that to begin with. So you're still gonna spend some time, I don't know, being 3 months or half a year in that relationship before you realize that shit ain't working.
Yeah.
So I think that's my point. I would rather do that than not try, I don't know, to love
No,
and
it's
be
fair.
loved.
No, I mean,
at all.
it's fair enough to try, but when you just wait for the better days, they will probably never come.
Yeah, I suppose you have to learn to recognize. I'm basing stuff on like our relationships and the previous stuff that you had in life. You have to. I can't stress this enough. You have to work on yourself first, no matter what. That's where it begins. That's your foundation.
Yeah.
You have to know yourself well enough. Your desires, your wants, your jealousies, what makes you go, what ticks you, like what you hate, what you don't like. You have to work on yourself. Your insecurities, your past trauma, your child, whatever. That might take a while. But even if it's small steps, you have. That's where that's what it starts.
Yeah.
And then when you get into a relationship, you can then notice the patterns, whether this relationship is going.
That's what's important. It's not that, you need to close yourself in a
No, I'm not saying
lonely
that.
island somewhere and just work on yourself. You can still have these relationships, but spend the time reflecting on what's not working, why it's happening, and it's always another really good book. Actually, a podcast we didn't didn't read the book. Was Extreme Ownership by
Is that Jocko Willink?
Yeah, own your shit. Own everything. Everything's your fault, basically.
Yeah.
So you need to go inside, find whatever is making you react to stuff, and deal with that. So recognize the childhood trauma, the patterns that your parents instilled. Because I now realize, how old am I? 34.
I don't even know.
2022.
It doesn't matter.
34. I now realize that my parents were. How old were they? They're a similar age than we are now when they had me. they were younger when they had my sister first, and they were just kids.
No, that fucking kids at 34.
Well,
Jesus.
they were 26 when they had my sister, and about 30, 29 when they had me. You realize that, you know, when you're 29, your parents were adulting, trying to make life.
But they didn't know what they're doing.
They didn't know what they're doing. Now we realize, but as kids, we thought that they're the example, they're the
That's how
etalon.
life's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's basically, yeah, that's life. And now you realize that, no, they didn't know what they're doing. So things that they did need to be unwind and wound differently.
Yeah.
So you need to rewire yourself, restructure yourself from the foundation because of, and it's fine. I mean, they were kids themselves. You don't need to blame them because, well, at the end of the day, they gave you life. They brought you up into this world. They instilled some of the values that you have, and they did quite good in bringing you up. But you need to find your own way now.
And all that creates certain wiring and certain traumas in your, that whether that's conscious or subconscious.
When
and then,
before us, what happened was there wasn't much contraception going around.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of kids that were surprises for people that weren't ready.
Yeah.
And they were pushed into this life that you're going to have to bring the person. And yeah, there wasn't much research and science and how to bring up a child.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have to realize that everything, the package that you bring, it was through conscious or subconscious, call it programming, of your parents, of your childhood, from the people that they did not know what they're doing. Now your job is to educate yourself, realize things, understand the patterns, undo those that were, I don't know, harmful, and relearn stuff, which is harder to do when you all grown up, I suppose. Yeah. But that's the work that will make you a better person, and that's the work that will make your relationship with someone else that you are trying to form a relationship, I don't know, marriage, whatever, better.
I suppose it's important to realize that it's going to take time as well. It's not going to be all of a sudden and I'm changed.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of time to unlearn, recognize. But you need to spend that effort. You need to reflect back on yourself, reflect back on the patterns that were instilled in you.
That's how we go about ours, right? It's communication, I suppose.
Yeah, that's the most important. I think being truthful, being honest. And so what, if you don't like what I say, or if I don't agree with what you say, I want you to win regardless, right?
Yeah.
So if you have an idea of, oh, I want to do this, I want you to feel safe to tell me that.
Yeah.
I might not agree with it, but I'm not gonna sabotage it to you. I'm not gonna make you feel bad about it. I'm just gonna say, well, I don't think that's right, but you do you.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that you're safe telling me something, even though I don't like it.
People sometimes tell me, oh, I just, I watched this with such a, I don't know, envy your like relationship, like how you and your wife go about, but we're not perfect.
Oh, no.
By no shape or form. Like we argue, we do dumb shit. Yeah, shit happens. But like shit happens in any household. But that's the key point. People are too reserved to themselves and they can't handle uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
So they never happen. And if that never happens, all you do, you just channel that shit in, and it never gets said, spoken about, or addressed. So now you live with that resentment.
Yeah.
And eventually, 10, 15, 20 years later, you realize, you know what? Fuck this shit. Which actually might have worked. Depends. We're still talking about relationship that's not toxic.
Yeah.
But then it can grow into one.
As I say, in relationship, you need to reflect, because it's not always... Sometimes you both can be toxic. Sometimes one person can be toxic.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be toxic. So you need to always reflect on yourself, talk, communicate, and grow. That's probably a take-home message from me. And it's funny how nobody talks about it, but yeah, in relationship, it's the most important thing you need to do is know yourself.
Yeah, everyone is first to point the finger, right? Oh, you didn't deliver. I expected that. That's another thing, right? And we speak about this. That, you know, we have sometimes chats in the morning where I said to you the other day that I had conversation with myself about you being a trampy bitch, not unloading the dishwasher, and it's only me who has to do it.
Yeah.
But I got disappointed, because I had expectations of you. So I created something that in my mind, you should have done it. That was not your fault.
Yeah.
But I made a story of that pissed me off. And that's what people don't realize. That's the first
mistake we make. We create a scenario, we create a story, and we live it in our heads.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We speak about them loudly. So I will say to you out loud the shit that came into my mind.
Yeah.
And I cursed you in my mind to highest heavens and whatever, and called you all sorts of things.
I felt it.
So we have a laugh about it.
Yeah.
But then we know that this is the problem that I've created in my mind. But I realized that, I sort of like caught it, addressed it, that it was nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So once again, it stems all back to you have to work on yourself.
Apology accepted.
And guess what?
Calling me a tramp.
I call you worse things than that.
You do.
But yeah, and then I don't know how other people go about their like relationship, but from what I see, there's not enough communication. There's not enough work with yourself, on yourself, and there's not enough communication and
between each other,
honesty between two people who are in that relationship.
Sometimes you think that like, oh, he doesn't like that because he said it. But when you speak out loud, you communicate, and then, oh, no, that's not what I meant. And you realize that, oh, he likes it actually.
Yeah, people create so much shit in your head.
When you
like,
are together...
How can I predict what you...
We're not... I mean, we're kind of telepathic because we do think of same things lately.
Yeah, but it's been years of working on it.
But
we sync up.
You can't know what's going on in other person's head. Even if you have an idea about it, it might be wrong. So you need to communicate. You need to talk. You need to sit down, put your phones down, turn the telly off, and have a chat, have a laugh. Everything needs to be heart to heart.
Yeah. Honest to God, you have to work on yourself to be able to have uncomfortable conversations comfortably. Like, as much as you think someone might not like it, as much as you think you might not want to say it, but if that relationship that you are building or you already have is meant to be and meant to last, you will be able to express yourself. That person will be able to handle that conversation, converse back, and you will come out stronger as a couple. I think this applies to us. That's how we go about it. The many shits we sort of like went through, like you can pack your shit and leave, right? Well, it's a bit harder when you're married. And legalities and shit.
Legalities. That's why we're married.
I know, right? But then it's then becomes a conscious choice whether you want to leave or you want to stay and work on it.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand when it's time to leave, it's time to leave. There might be various reasons we discussed in here before.
Yeah.
That might be you grew apart and that relationship grew into a toxic relationship, or it was. You have to learn the patterns of that. But if you know you're onto something good, but you understand through self-development and understanding yourself that you have to work on this. So if you want to maintain a good relationship for years on end, I suppose, it's communication.
Well, it's a simple
working on
example,
yourself
isn't
and
it?
Communicating.
To destroy something, it takes minutes.
Yeah.
But to build
Smash it.
something, it takes effort, it takes thought, it takes conscious choice, it takes time, and it takes a lot of sweat and tears and blood and all sorts.
We're specifically talking about our relationship, how we go about it,
Yeah.
and how we see our relationship, and that in terms how we perceive other people's relationship. But that's how we go about ours, and that what works for us. So it's not a magic formula, or it's just.
I suppose that it's a choice, isn't it?
Of what?
It's a conscious choice. I don't need you. I choose to be with you.
But a person has to understand that.
Yeah, so you need to work up to that.
You need to be able to understand that you don't have to be codependent from someone. I'm not talking just codependency as a material thing, but anything like feelings, like you choose to create life. Someone you don't need. Someone to create life. I mean,
or happiness for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can create that by yourself. Like you can be happy by yourself. But if you choose another person to create that happiness with, then it becomes work. That's how we go about ours, and
A lot of the talk.
But we probably could talk for deliberate for hours on exactly the same subject, but in a nutshell, that's how we go about our relationship. And I don't know, is it perfect? Fuck no. Do we argue? Yeah.
But it's
do we argue a lot? I don't know. Define a lot.
Like
Normal amount.
Like my dad says, when you don't argue, that's when the problem is. Because it means you don't care anymore.
You don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah. So when you still argue, make sure that, it's a...
Yeah, just make sure you don't argue on the dumb shit.
Yeah.
We argue on the dumb shit sometimes, like a dishwasher. But, yeah.
But it's normal. It's normal because it's two strangers living in one household, isn't it? And you need...
There is no fucking secret. That's a conscious decision to work on what you have. If you think that what you have adds up to your life and you want to keep it.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's it. So I think we can...
That's all.
We can wrap this up.
But
Wrap it in the bud. And yeah, so that's our take on our relationship and how we go about them. So if you like what you heard, do the usual.
Do you have anything to say? No.
No, it doesn't.
He agrees.
If you like what you heard, so leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe. Share it with your friends. We'll share some other thoughts some other time.
Press the like button.